Hey, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Think, Engage, Thrive. Another week, another entrepreneur. Today's discussion is really going to focus around AI. Big topic. We've had a couple of people on the show talking about AI in different ways, but tonight we've got Stefan Fehr, who's developed a product called ModernIQs.com. You can go to the website, ModernIQs.com. He's been focused on AI for quite a long time, since 2019. And again, we're talking generative AI versus, AI has been around for a long time, but generative AI is really what the future is. And it's moving very, very rapidly. And so he's mostly focused on content creation right now. And, we'll talk to him about that a bit. And he he's also focused on how this whole works with society, which is a big discussion point for people with AI, right? Everybody thinks it's going to take over the world. Everybody thinks it's going to take over companies. It's going to eliminate the workforce. And as a user of AI in our business, I can tell you that we haven't had to eliminate jobs. We have no plan to eliminate jobs. It does make the job easier in some respects, but you still need human eyes on it. From our perspective, you still need human eyes, human hands. You can't just let it go by itself. And I think that there's a lot of misinformation out there. So he's an expert in it. Let's bring him in and let's talk to him about it. Stefan, thanks for joining us.
Hello. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, thanks for taking the time.
Yeah.
So why don't you take us a little bit back? Let's not get into modern IQs right away. Let's take us back and let's talk about your past, your history, your and how you got to where you are, what you've been doing, and what you're doing in the future.
So like my first after school was normal job training as a mechanical electrical engineer, and that was in a big car manufacturer in Germany. So I was surrounded by big automation since I was 16, and I kind of never really understood why people always love to do their job by hand, because everything you can automate you should. So this has always been my philosophy.
Yeah.
Right. And then, I mean, let's say it like that: the leftovers of what you cannot automate, that's where you can take your time to put out like the which cannot be quality made by automation. That's where you take your time to bring the quality to the level which cannot be done by AI or by automation. So yeah, I that's what I did as a job training, and been traveling but got into the whole entrepreneurship business world in 2019, and especially very strongly involved with software as a service tools. That's where it actually really started. And I think it was 2019 when I had my first contact with AI text generators. Very rudimentary, old. But still, like I kind of got to know them quite some years before the whole ChatGPT wave. And with my old project, appcolumbus.com, that was a platform that was like an affiliate platform for software as a service tools. And the day I decided to AI generate a description, a feature section, and a summary for every tool I had on the site, and put it onto the site. So that was one day for that. There must have been something like 300 pages of text. And then you could see in this Google Search Console that from that day on, traffic went from 1,000 or reach on Google went from 1,000 a month to 130,000. And that's where I really started to see, wow, this blog article thing is something. And that's where I saw the story around Healthline.com and how they get hundreds of millions of monthly website visitors with blog articles. And that's what I was sold. And I was like, I want to have a tool which can do the job quickly. And there was none. So, yeah.
Yeah, I think that there's been a lot of I don't know if it's misinformation or wrong information about how Google uh, maybe deprecates AI generated content, or it will look at the content and see if it's AI generated. I don't know if that's true or not true. There's not I've not seen it personally, but what do you think about that?
I think that's totally true. So we can see, for example, I was putting out blog articles. When we've been developing the app, we were putting out articles at the same time, right? And improving the quality and so on. And up until a couple of weeks ago, we always used DALI 2 for images, and like those DALI 2 images are not indexed anymore. They are like all out. So the quality, it is about having a good enough quality. If the quality is well, then stuff is staying, and if not, Google is kicking it out for sure. And this is I think the measurements for that are going to increase. So quality always must be a fair amount above what Google wants to see, or search engines want to see. Yeah.
Right. So, um, so it's you're mostly. I know we had this conversation about images, and
Mm.
like what we've found, and because we've been again, I'm a proponent of AI as a tool. Con- we use it for a lot of different things, and we
Mhm.
have for years. And it's content generation, email writing, um, social media posting, all kinds of different things. That's the content side. We also use AI in our business to do analytical work. So
Yeah.
very difficult to sort of pull in or to analyze years of advertising data, for example. Like let's say that we have a client that's been running ads ineffectively or partially effectively for a couple of years and they can't figure out what the problem is. And we come in and then we extract all that data, trying to do that manually or through some of the tools that existed weren't as good. Whereas there's a couple of AI tools out there that we can put that data in and it will just amazingly tell us quickly what the issue is, and I love that. But so I'm not. I love AI and I love where it's going and where it's heading. The problem I see with images is that they look fake and there are people that scrutinize them, especially if we use them on social media. We've
Mhm.
tested, we've been testing, and we continue to test tools that create images for ads or images for social media because that's a lot of our business. So if we can figure out ways to streamline that or make it more efficient. We've tested, for example, these video creators that will create a video quickly, and they do a phenomenal job. There's one that we've tested that I think makes a beautiful, beautiful, short form video. The problem with it is that it doesn't connect when you're working with brands, which we are, which are products, has to connect with the audience. And these are sort of generic, which I think would work really well for like real estate or
Mm.
construction, but it doesn't
Yeah.
where you sort of can get away with showing, just images of the
Mhm.
process. So that's one issue. But the other one are some of these ad creatives that just take these images and it's amazing, and I know we talked about this, and I know you can't believe it. There are people that will sit there and scrutinize the image, where your light source is coming from, and just silly things. But
Mhm.
so in that respect, I think it's come a long way, but I think it's got a long way to go before it can be I think the image side for us.
Mhm. Look, when you think about, I mean, when you think about the difference between DALI 2 and the current state of the art, and then when you think about exponential growth, I think it's more a matter of weeks, right?
Yeah.
In reality, so let's say it like that. Uh, it feels like it should be years. It should be when you factor in exponential growth, it should be weeks, and in reality, it's probably something like months.
Yeah.
But it's not far away.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So the whole it really depends on the use case. So for example, when we create an article for, I created recently an article about how we could use a future AI system to let it figure out all the engineering we do globally and come up with a part set that looks that has a very limited amount of standardized parts, which we can use to build houses, buildings, robots, machinery on Mars, right?
Yeah.
So I called this build Mars quickly with a set of Lego style parts.
Yeah.
And then the AI was obviously creating somewhat realistic images of a Lego, like that was very colorful, right? Of a Lego buggy on Mars, and so it kind of depends on the use case. Yeah, if you're like a restaurant and you want to create, like if you have a local business and you want to create, like, let's say, a dish that you have on your menu to put it on your website to rank for the dish in your town, then image quality is different than if you want to get it in front of, I don't know, 500,000 eyeballs. Yeah.
I agree with you. It definitely depends on the use case. You're 100% right. There's no question about it. For us, I always think in terms, and I'm limited in my head because I think in terms of what we do, which is we're very focused on consumer products and consumer product brands, and that's what we do. And in those cases, it's very difficult to come up with, sort of generic images. We can't use, we don't use fake images through, Adobe or places like that and just sort of doctor them up. We just can't. We have to use real images, real videos. But we do, the place that it works, that AI works for us is in the editing side. We definitely use a lot of AI tools on the editing side for video and on the editing side for images, and that works, phenomenally well. Like I said, I mean, there's so much out there today that AI is touching that people don't even realize. And again, when you talk about AI, people talk about AI as this big thing, but it's multiple things, and it's doing different tasks in different channels for different people. Right?
Yeah, totally. Yeah. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. So where do you think it's heading?
Oh, so I'm getting this question asked such a lot. It's heading to be faster, for sure. So, well, usually I advocate for a stop or for a drastic slowdown, because yesterday I put out a post saying current AI can solve all problems and future AI will create new problems, right? And I mean, so one of the reasons why I started this old platform appcolumbus.com was because even most software as a service tools haven't been translated into German or into other languages than English. And I kind of already thought, well, because the people around me like kind of seemed like, oh yeah, the software we don't need, right? And I already felt like if Europe is not using software as a service tool, we'll get left behind. And with AI, this is okay. AI now is the translation and everything works way better, but the speed of how things are developing. I mean, with current AI system, just take our company as an example. We create a blog article. So as an example, you as a podcast host, right? You, after this session, you could get the transcript of that video and paste it into our system. You write a headline, and then you tell the system, this is a transcript of a podcast episode. Please reference it at multiple times, right? While creating the article. So And then the system creates you a blog article with images, with headline structures, with alternative image text, with like so many steps what we automate. And then when you see this means our tool, it takes you maybe 20 seconds, right? Maybe even just 10 to create an in-depth, extreme high quality article with images and everything uploaded to your website. That if that would be a human doing this job with ChatGPT, it would still take hours. So it's already we are already at the stage where we can have tools running on the current state of AI that are 1,000 times faster than an employee that is trained to use ChatGPT.
Yeah.
So that translates to, or we could easily solve most of our problems on Earth very, very quickly with current state of AI. So developing it further, there are some applications which I said, like developing a very useful part set to, colonize other planets or so on. But well, for those that say, let's fix all problems here first, we should stop. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. We generally don't. I mean, here's where you're 100% right. If you just took the transcript, put it into AI, said, write me a blog article, it would happen. Title, it would give me the meta description, it would give me everything. But generally what we do is we take it and we put it into Grammarly next, because we want to clean up the wording, because we want human eyes on it, right? Because I've found, I mean, look, AI does a phenomenal job with writing content, but we still want human eyes on it to make it, I don't know, we almost create mistakes in it to make it more human, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I get it. Okay.
And
totally,
so we run it through Grammarly to make sure that the content or that it's grammatically correct and all the punctuation is correct and all that stuff. But then we always go in and we make a couple of silly human errors to make it seem like it wasn't written by a machine, if that makes sense.
Well, sure. I'm not sure, like on correct grammar is a ranking factor, I believe. But I'm not sure if perfect grammar is a negative ranking factor. I don't know. But I don't know. This is something that we focus on, improving automated quality. So perfect grammar for us is the done job. You can add some commas if you want. But
no, we don't do that. It's usually with words. We do some things to make it sound like it's not so perfectly written, in other words. So it's not so much, we use Grammarly to make sure the punctuation is correct, and we use it to change the tone a little bit. And then, but when we're finished, we make mistakes with the words just to make it seem it was more humanly written, So,
we are launching a transcription app soon, and with the transcription app, you can then say, please make it sound like me, and it'll ask you for your name and the guest's name, so you can then see that's the host, and that's how the host is talking, not necessarily writing, but talking, and it'll adapt to the talking style. I'm not sure if it's enough. We'll see, but I think to a fair amount does already. And I think GPT, like currently our text generation is GPT 4.0, and when you have like this transcript is very rich, right?
Right.
And so that should be, if the podcast host is not just talking 2 sentences in the episode, which happens a lot, right? They, like, most of the time the guest is talking, but if you have like a certain amount where the AI can see how you speak, then it'll kind of sound like you.
Yeah. A friend of mine, he was on the show actually early on. he is creating. He's using AI to generate books for kids, for children. So what he has is a product where he's got the voice creator. So the mother. So again, it's for kids. So the child can go in and choose who he wants to be. Like, does he want to be a superhero? Does he want to be a, whatever? And then he wants to, he gives it a little bit of, a story about astronauts or going to the moon or whatever. And then he wants the book to be read by his mother. And so the mom has to go in and read a couple of sentences from something so that the voice generator can pick up how she speaks. And it's amazing because within a couple of minutes they can have a book, the child can have a book that essentially he's written a story about himself, and it's got images in it, and it's being read by his mom's voice, which is very, very creative way of using, I think, AI in a positive way. And I think he's got some controls in there, so it can't be violent and it can't be, things like that. But yeah, so you're 100% right. It needs, in order to do the voice correctly or speak in the same tone as I would speak, it would need a little bit of prompting as to how I do it. And we've done some of that. Again, writing content for our own sites or whatever, but it's difficult to do when you're doing it for clients because you can't get them to write or speak how they speak.
Yeah.
So
yeah, but especially like this kind of part gets like easier, right? So you could theoretically just take some published texts and train the system, something like that.
Yeah, I mean, it's evolving, like you said, it's evolving every day. It's evolving hourly, and and now we have Search GPT, which is pretty wild, and which I enjoy. I like that part too. So yeah, it's changing every day. People are writing, new GPTs and creating all kinds of things, which I really love. I don't have that technical ability. I'm not a programmer. I'm not a developer, but I like watching it. I like the marketing side of it. I like how to use it in marketing and how to figure out how to use these tools, because it saves money. The other thing we do with AI, which is something we actually, when you're advertising, like let's say that you're advertising on Amazon, which we are for clients, and they have a lot of products. Let's say they have 200 products. It's virtually impossible to go in and manage manually the ads for that. It's impossible. And then to analyze it, it would almost be a 2-person 80-hour a week job. And it used to be, because we used to have to do it sort of manually, right? And there were some automation tools out there, but they never really lived up to their expectation. But about 2 or 3 years ago, we I think of that. Yeah, it was about 3 years ago. We came across this tool, which has an AI backbone, and it basically manages the ads, and it's been a lifesaver because you can tell it what ROAS you're trying to get to, and you can you give it the product. It's pulling all the information off of it, and it's basically running the ads, and it's done a tremendous job for us, really. So that's just another way that we're using AI. But again, that's more on the data, more on the data side of analysis and then laying out a path.
I mean, look, when you think about, I don't know how much time and money it costs Healthline to create their case, their website. But the thing is, like, you need people taking images. You need people writing text. You need specialists in marketing. You need to organize everyone. I mean, for example, if you want to, let's say you're an Asian restaurant in Amsterdam, and you want to have a blog article for every dish on your menu, it would have cost you, I don't know how much money, like having like 200 articles, right? I mean, getting this done relatively quickly, right? So I don't know. And now it's like, you know, I mean, especially when it's something like a restaurant, or I mean, there's so many use cases. A cocktail bar I always take as an example, right? If you want to, you know, rank for Mojito Amsterdam, right? Then this is the headline, right? Mojito Amsterdam, or you know, something more creative maybe.
Yeah.
But I mean, this is not something where you need to like you used to. You would have taken many people to do that, or yeah. And now it's like yeah, it's basic. It depending on use case, it's like a very easy job now. Yeah.
Oh, no question about it. I think, like I said, the content side of it, I think is great.
Mm.
You know, I think it saves a lot of time because you're right. It's impossible. I mean, we have a couple of websites that are our own personal ones, and we create content on it, and we've been using, you know, different AI tools. And like I said, I think I told you, one of the SEO plugins that we have also has a built-in content generator, which will create it and put it on the site. You know what I always do, and it's just a habit. I take whatever the content that we create is, whether we create it in ChatGPT or whether we create it, you know, with that, and we just run it through Grammarly, and then, you know, clean it up, make a few mistakes before we put
Yeah.
it on, just so it looks like it's a real, you know, like I wrote it. So
I'm not sure how much of this is actually like when I people are focusing so much on yeah, it sounds like AI or whatever, and I'm always thinking, okay, then do you want to have a crappy article with long sentences which you don't understand? You know, it's like, I mean, yes, it does. You can see that it's revolutionizing, right? But or it's a game changer, or all the words. But I generally think I'm not sure how important this really is. Like, yes, it can sound like you, but yeah, it,
I don't know
to
how
have
important it is. Yeah, I don't know how important it is either. It just makes me feel it makes me feel better that if somebody read it, they would think, "Oh, he actually wrote this."
yeah, yeah, yeah,
No, you're 100% right. I'll tell you that, I think it was, again, maybe it was 2 or 3 years ago when, I don't know if you're familiar with Jasper. Uh,
yeah,
yeah, Jasper first came out, I guess that was probably 3 years ago, maybe. And I remember, we were using it, you know, testing it and seeing what it can do. And there was a guy, had a YouTube channel, and he was, talking about having he had a contest, just for fun. There was no prize or anything. It was just a contest to see if you could, in one weekend, write a book and then publish it on Amazon as a, you know,
mhm,
print on demand,
mhm,
and which I thought was really neat, and people did it, and so I did it. I couldn't do it in a weekend because I didn't have that kind of time, because the younger guys were just hunkering down in their house, you know, and just doing it. But he laid out this process for how to do it, and I followed the process and actually created a book. I didn't publish it just because I thought, you know, I was just doing it for fun, but it was interesting to me that you could actually write a book using ChatGPT,
yeah,
and yeah, and it would be, and some of the books that I did read, a couple of them, and they were fun. They
mhm,
were good, well written books. So I thought that was
mhm.
interesting.
Yeah, yeah, totally. I mean, I mean, in the end, what do you need? Like a very extensive outline where you then say where you then have some summary points, and you maybe adding some your own, and that's it, right? And then you run it you run it through.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, yeah, there's no question. It's amazing. And then, but then I think, I'm not sure how much you if you use that tool or not use that tool, but I think it didn't keep, in my opinion, that tool didn't keep up with the changes that were happening on ChatGPT. So then, we went directly to ChatGPT and we've liked it ever since, just for the tools for the things that we're using and the GPTs that are in there. And yeah, Chat 4.0 and Dolly 2, and it's all, built in there. And and then there's some GPTs that we use, but I find that to be better than using some of the third party tools that just feed off of ChatGPT.
Mm.
But I am going to try yours and use it on my personal site and see how it does. See,
Mm.
I won't even touch it. I'll let it go directly onto the site and see if it makes any difference.
Mm.
I won't put it through Grammarly or anything.
Yeah. You should, especially for for anyone. What I'm thinking is very interesting. For example, is lawyers, because they have the law text as the reference, right? So
Sure.
they can take the law text as background information, or you as a podcast host, you can take the transcript, which that the thing really is, if you don't add much information, you look for an Asian restaurant that wants to have chicken teriyaki Amsterdam, a blog article, it's fine. You don't really need to explain the chemical structure of curry or something, right? But but when you want to put out a high quality content piece that is what you would prefer, what you would like to rank ideally globally or something, then having some sophisticated background information is doing a good job. So that's why I'm saying with podcast episodes is, I'm always telling the AI, so I'm taking the transcript and I'm putting it into ChatGPT, and then I'm telling ChatGPT, create me 10 different headlines for this podcast transcript, which I can use to create a blog article. Then I take a headline I like, I paste it into our system, and then I take the transcript again and I say, this is the transcript of a podcast episode of podcast X with host X, Epsilon, and guest Z. Please reference the transcript in multiple times inside the article. And then I paste it in, and then I just create the article, and that's like one click. And then all I need to do is go back to ChatGPT, take another headline I like, paste it into the headline, leave the rest as it is, and create the second article. And because it's so rich in background information, it's actually doing an extremely good job. So yeah, that's a time saver. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, no question about it. But the real key, right? So we have a website for the agency, and we produce content on there about different subject matters, whether it's connected TV or advertising or things like that. And so certainly the ability to link a system to that site, create the content, put it onto the site would be a game changer, right? Or a time saver. And then I have my personal site where I do coaching for entrepreneurs, and so I create content on that site as well. So those would be the use cases. But you still have to spend the time to say, this is the article I want to write, and this is what I want it to be about, and
Well, if you don't do it, the content will be more flat for sure, right? Because it doesn't really it gets you what. So we are but we are also actually working on getting this extremely high targeted to the headline. So if you have in your headline, that there was somebody doing a test article about storytelling for Dutch governments, officials, and 5 ways or 5 strategies or something. And so when you are very specific in the headline, we are like training your system now to be like extremely in depth right on the topic, instead of writing why should you use storytelling, right? Because this is not what the article should be talking about. So yeah, that'll get better. So if you, for the very very lazy people that don't even want to put their own thoughts into, just want to create content like crazy, it'll be better then as well. But I don't recommend it. I always say, get the headline in, and then take your phone, go click the dictating on your phone, and then just dictate what you think, right? What's your content idea? What's the background? Where should it focus on? What should be the context? What should it, I always say, like, write the article around this idea, and then I explain in detail what my idea is. And then it's actually doing a really good job. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. That's usually how we do it. We just have to basically write a couple of, 3 paragraphs or 4 paragraphs about what you're trying to do.
Yeah.
Sometimes we'll even reference another article and say, expand on this concept. But yeah, no question about it. You have to give it, you're 100% right. You have to give it some context. You have to give it some understanding. And because if you don't, then it's just going to write a basic article, which
nobody needs. Really.
And that's just not going to fly in the Google world. So
yeah. And I have a question for you. Is that because my knowledge, I'm always imagining this to be so, for example, if I have a cocktail bar in Amsterdam, okay, and I want let's say, so I want to have a recipe for every cocktail, so that people that want to drink a cocktail and think, I want to do it myself, I don't want to go to a bar this time, or so on, they will find me with the headline, and then they will get the recipe. And the next time they'll they're like, I want to drink a cocktail, but I don't want to do it. So they go to the bar where they saw where the recipe was. But do you think when I put in Mojito Amsterdam, or maybe some longer headline, that should be enough? Because the content that will come out, recipe Mojito, or something like that, the content that comes out should be, very standard content. But when it's local, does that, like, how is that affecting things? Will that work? Do you know this?
So will it work? It has to be, if there's people searching for, the way I would do it is this. I would do it as the best mojito in Amsterdam, or the best martini in Amsterdam, or the best, because, and then I'm solving 2 problems, right? I can still have the recipe in there, but now I'm saying that this bar, so in Google's eyes, I'm putting enough content out there that says this is the best, blah, 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 blah. So ultimately, because you have to think about who's searching. Is anybody searching for mojitos in Amsterdam? Or are they searching for, I'm a tourist, and what's the best mojito? Or what's the best beer? Or what's the best, environment? Or what's the best fun? Or, things like that. So you have to think about who's searching and what they're searching for. Because you can rank. I mean, we've got articles that rank for subject matter, but there's not many searches around it. So it's not going to do anything. The objective, you have to think about the objective. And if my objective is I'm using content to get my bar, in this case, to be to rank high when people search, right? If I'm in Amsterdam and I'm a tourist and I'm looking for places to go and drink or have fun, then I'm going to use content to get there. So I have to think about how I'm going to structure that content, and how I'm going to think about what the searcher is looking for, right? So that's how I would do it. I'd focus it on around, and you can do it for every single item, right? You could say, I could do it for every single drink. I could say, I could just title it the best mojito recipe, or the best mojito in Amsterdam, and here's the recipe, blah, 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 blah. So you're giving them something with it, right? They're searching, they come up with the article that this is the best mojito, and this is my husband likes pina coladas. What's the best pina colada in Amsterdam? All of a sudden now I see the same bar coming up with 2 or 3 times, and they're giving me all this content, and they're giving me the recipe and telling me how they did it. Now I've built sort of a relationship, right? Now I feel like they're not just selling me.
That's my idea as well. Yeah.
They're not just selling me, they're giving me something. So I have a little bit of trust with them. then I go to the bar, so that's how I would do it.
Mm.
If it were a
No.
Chinese restaurant, I would do it the same way. What's the best chicken teriyaki in Amsterdam? What's the best, blah blah blah. And that's how you would get the content to rank, and then the restaurant to rank. So
Mm.
that's, to me, how I would sell it to them.
Mm. Mm. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, there's like, especially for local businesses, it's like such a heck. I mean, nobody really. I'm always saying this. If you have a website without blog articles, it's like having a supermarket without products. People can walk in, but there's nothing to see or buy there. It's not making sense, right? So, I mean, how are you going to? Why should Google send you traffic when somebody else has a cocktail bar with having 200 recipes and you don't? I mean, obviously this will over time evolve to everybody needs it, but this is business, right? You got to be the first. And
Yeah,
in a couple of years you will have tools where you say, I have a cocktail bar, please create me the website and articles and stuff. But now nobody, if your competition doesn't has it, I mean, you're the only one who's having products in their supermarket. Well, yeah.
So it's so in order to get a site to rank, let's say, you're 100% right. You need content on that site to explain not only to searchers but also to Google what you are and who you are, and you have to build that content structured in a way that Google reads it and says, "Oh, okay, this company is an expert in connected TV advertising or in e-commerce advertising," right?
Mhm.
Because and when you're a company like us, where we do a whole bunch of different things, we have to constantly create content around all those different things. But you also need content on other sites that are directing people in,
Yeah.
right? So you have to have links in. And then, you know, today, because it's consistently changing. And
Yeah.
so today, video is one of the most important things, to get people to understand
Mm.
who you are. And that video has to be in multiple places, short form, long form, both ways. So it's a combination of everything
Yeah.
that you have to do.
Yeah.
But I built my first website back in like 2000, right? And at that point, it was an e-commerce site. But at that point, all you really needed was a descriptive URL, and you got traffic. I mean, because no, there was no search. When
Yeah,
you
but
think
on
about it,
the other hand side, look, on the other hand side, you might, if you want to, for example, if you want to create an article today that that maximizes the chances for to be appealing for search engines, you need a lot, or you need one tool that does a lot. So it kind of didn't really change, right? And I mean, back in the day, getting an e-commerce website up must have been a challenge on its own.
oh God, I can't
Yeah.
tell
So
you. I mean,
it's kind of didn't. It's like you got to be, if you don't do all this stuff, maybe because you don't even know it, right? What to do. You don't make. Let's say you don't even know that you need alternative image texts, right? And all these kind of micromanagement things. Well, then you don't really have a chance. But if you have a tool that does everything for you, then and I'm not saying our tool is start doing everything, but we're working on it to automate as much as possible. And I mean, then you don't even need to know that you need to do this because the system does it for you. So it's kind of like the same, right? In a couple of years, maybe somebody's saying, you only needed this one tool to get ranking articles. It's like, yeah.
yeah,
Mm.
yeah. So yeah, it is. It's a there's so many pieces to it, because then you have structured data and you have all this other
Yeah.
stuff to it. But anyway, you know, it's still to a certain extent though, it's still and we ran across this recently with a client. It's still a lot has to do with the URL, and it's amazing to me in this day
Yeah,
and age
no.
because we had we have this company that had the guy bought an existing brand, and their URL was America's favorite, and then their product, right? America's favorite, blah blah blah, and that was their URL, and that was their brand,
Mm,
and so and they had such a great ranking, and the guy made the biggest mistake. He bought the company, and he didn't like the brand, so he changed the brand name,
mm,
and he didn't understand how to do it. He didn't understand the implications,
mhm.
and he changed the brand name, changed the URL, and the traffic went just
Yeah,
straight down.
yeah.
He couldn't understand it. And a year later, we come in and he says, I don't understand, blah, 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 blah. I used to do this. I said, well, you changed this. This was a
Mm,
great, because that America's favorite blah 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 was a direct hit on a search. People
mhm.
were searching what's America's best or America's favorite
Yeah.
or what's blah 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 blah, for this product, and
Mm,
people were getting to it. And he ranked extremely high, but he didn't understand. He's a businessman, not a digital marketer, so he didn't
sure.
understand the implications of that URL. But it's still amazing to me that URLs still make a difference. Anyway,
Mm,
it's funny, but you're 100% right. Content, you need a lot of it. You need to make sure that you have all those pieces in place where and there's a million little things that you have to know in order to get your site to rank, especially in today's environment where it's highly competitive.
yeah.
But yeah, we're about out of time. We got to start wrapping it up. And so tell them again, moderniqs.com is your site. Entrepreneurs would want it, businesses would want it, local, regional, national. Why would they want it?
Look, here's the thing. The next time you wait at the red stoplight and then the stoplight turns green, just think about that you could have created an article in this time. Because really, or you stand at the, so I was always having this, I wait somewhere and then I have an idea, and I don't even have like a proper tool to write it down. But now I have a tool where I can enter the headline and dictate into my phone, and then the phone is writing. It's not audio dictating yet, so this function where the phone then is writing the background information. You got to kind of check it afterwards, but this takes like a minute, and then you press create, and when you come home, there's a draft article waiting on your website. So
Yeah.
it's kind
Yeah.
of better than writing notes.
Yeah. 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 So, yeah, no, you're 100% right. Having the tool to be able to create the content, and you're 100% right. It's a good analogy. You're sitting at the stoplight, and between red and green, you could create an article.
And just quickly, this is how AI should be working as well. It shouldn't be that we train our employees how to use AI. It should be that instead of that from the content idea to the ready to publish thing, the AI should do everything in between. This is where our goal should be, and this
Yeah.
is what AI can do today, not just for content, for almost anything. And if we use this capacity of what AI can do today, we don't need further developing systems.
Yeah. Yeah.
This
Yeah.
is like way enough.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure. True. 100%. Well, I wish you luck with the product. I think it's going to be, great. I am going to test it. I'm going to try it for my own personal site. So I'll let you know. We'll keep in touch, and
Yes,
I'd
please.
love to know. I'd love to see your thoughts on it, and how
Mhm.
I'm using it, and whether I'm using it right, because that's always a big thing. But I appreciate you taking the time to come on, and
Thanks for having me.
yeah, it was a good discussion. I think I think AI is a great conversation because it's constantly evolving, and so I think
Yeah.
your insights were very helpful. And, so yeah, so join us next week for another great interview, we'll have we like I say, we always have some great cutting edge entrepreneurs on, great discussions about it. Hopefully you get something out of it. Hopefully if you like this kind of thing, you'll be able to use it, and go to moderniqs.com, and well, it's IQS, but ModernIQs, and use the tool for your own personal websites. Test it, try it, see what you think, and give some feedback to Stefan. I'm sure he'd love to hear it.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay. Thanks a lot.